Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am incredibly excited to be with you right now because we are talking about a massive, fundamental shift happening in software delivery today. We're looking at the true AI revolution in quality engineering. And, spoiler alert here, if your organization's current use of AI is purely focused on just making automated tests run, you might be missing the bigger picture entirely. We literally need to completely shift how we view automation.
So let's just be brutally honest for a second. Executing a test automatically, that's a solved problem. It really has been for years. Now, I know that might sting a little for some traditional automation engineers out there, but it's the truth. We've absolutely mastered the art of making a machine click a button and check a box. But in this new era of generative and agentic AI, if we're just using these incredibly powerful new tools to simply execute tests, well, it's kind of like using a supercomputer to do basic arithmetic.
Section 1, the automation bottleneck.
You see, the real bottleneck in modern software delivery isn't the test itself. It's everything that happens before, around, and after it. It's those countless hours spent deciphering vague error logs or trying to map out coverage. Today, the technology has finally caught up to the reality that quality requires a holistic view. It is absolutely time to broaden our definition of what automation really means. It's not just that split second when a test runs, it's the entire ecosystem of information surrounding that test.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, checks versus quality signals.
So traditional automation acts a lot like a rigid machine template, right? It clicks a button, checks a box, and gives you a binary pass or fail. But generative and agentic AI agents offer a total paradigm shift. They don't just look at rigid lines of code. They analyze text. They understand context. They can look across your entire software ecosystem and make intelligent connections that a simple script just never could.
Practically speaking, how does this work? Well, agentic AI builds context by digesting two very distinct worlds of data. On one end, you have your upstream assets, so that's your Jira tickets, user stories, and pull requests. On the other end, you have downstream evidence, things like error logs, system messages, app reviews, even compliance documents. By reading all of these diverse inputs, AI transforms raw, disconnected data into scalable, useful signals. It basically sees the whole board, not just a single isolated test script.
Which leads us to a vital shift in mindset. AI moves teams from simply asking, hey, did the test pass, to understanding where is our release actually exposed to risk. That completely elevates testers from being simple code-checkers to strategic risk managers. Understanding business exposure, rather than just raw code execution, is for sure the true value of AI in quality engineering. All right, Section 3, the scripted automation trap. I want to ask you directly. Are you missing the bigger picture in your AI strategy? Because a lot of organizations try to just layer AI directly on top of traditional, heavily coded test scripts. And the result? The AI just spends its immense processing power fixing brittle test code and broken locators. It's honestly a waste. Compare that to a no-script framework. Here, the AI isn't chained to syntax at all. It spends its energy analyzing actual business risk and cross-referencing logs. Layering AI over scripted automation creates this incredibly frustrating loop of diminishing returns. Think about the daily maintenance hell of brittle scripts, right? The AI writes test code faster, sure. It tries to patch broken locators, but what happens next? It still requires your highly skilled technical engineers to sit there, review, debug, and govern that AI-generated code. They essentially just become glorified syntax checkers for the AI. You haven't actually removed the bottleneck, you've just shifted it around. And even worse, this heavily scripted approach keeps all these amazing automated insights completely isolated within the engineering team. Let's dive into Section 4, Why No Script Wins. When you completely remove the scripting layer, you do something incredibly powerful. You decouple test maintenance from test intent. When tests are scriptless, the AI doesn't waste its processing power writing syntax or updating libraries just because a button moved 3 pixels to the left on a web page. It's finally free to focus on quality. It does what generative AI does best, parsing execution logs, identifying complex error patterns, mapping your test coverage directly to business requirements, and prioritizing defects based on actual real-world risk.
And that brings us to Section 5, the true citizen automator.
So, as we talked about, scripted testing isolates insights within the engineering team. But a no-script approach, it completely democratizes the entire AI feedback loop.
The true citizen automator isn't necessarily a senior software developer. It's your manual testers, your business analysts, and your domain experts. Because there is literally no code to write, they are now fully empowered to configure complex flows and act on advanced agentic AI signals instantly. The whole business gets to understand and act on quality, a real game changer.
To see this in practice, let's look at a platform designed specifically for this exact new reality, TestSquale's Breeze. By completely removing the scripting burden, it empowers seamless execution directly by business users and manual testers. But it definitely doesn't stop there. It layers intelligent, first-level AI analysis right on top of that scriptless foundation, ultimately turning governance, which, let's face it, used to be a massive operational bottleneck, into a supportive, automated guardrail. Execution just becomes the very first step of a much larger, smarter strategy.
So, wrapping up here, the next phase of intelligent test automation isn't about writing scripts faster. It's about automating the effort required to understand your results and prove your software is actually safe. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are you just automating test execution, or are you automating the intelligence needed to truly scale quality? Thank you so much for exploring the future of scriptless QE with us today. It is definitely time to rethink where your automation strategy is heading. Catch you next time.